Hello, welcome back to BlenderSushi Live Noding. In this live noding episode, we're gonna take a look at the MetaBalls once again, but this is gonna be a little bit more advanced. Still pretty basic, don't worry. Let's get started. Let's say SV MetaBalls, and this is gonna be grease pencil introduction. So I like using grease pencil. It's I think grease pencil is like the best buddy of Sverchok. It's like in Maya you have Maya Paint Effects, and you have this. You can draw strokes, and the strokes can become like a flowers and all this kind of cool stuff. Sverchok can do that as well. You know, it's just someone needs to make all those. For now, we're just gonna do something simple. So grease pencil, let's draw. So instead of letter S, let's do like letter M today. M for MetaBalls, okay? I don't know why I did that. Maybe just the spiral. Okay. Okay, save. So we have grease pencil here. Grease pencil, the good thing is just a simple strokes, right? Simple stroke without any kind of dimensions. Have you ever tried parenting MetaBalls into a stroke of grease pencils? You probably did, but what happened? Blender crashes. Why? Because stroke is really heavy. I'll show you real quick. So convert into Bezier Curve. Okay, we have the curve should be somewhere on layer 2. I think put it on layer 1 back. So grease pencil always kind of is always on top of the strokes. I'll hide it for now. Hide it. Okay, now we have the stroke. Go to compositing. In the stroke itself, oops, we have another layer, and grease pencils come back and hide it. This stroke is still a curve, but Sverchok can read it anyway, so it's okay. Objects in and read our curve. GP layer, okay, here, and then we can output it. We can check, investigate the curve first, don't do anything. So Sverchok, you can see how many points you have there. That's like a lot of points. Of course, I did this at some point, randomize input vertices, and then you know, you can see the points being distributed. This is actually a cool effect, okay? Mind you, this is powerful. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do vector interpolations. This is always a way we can kind of resampling the curve, so we don't have too many curves. We don't have too many points. If you let's say we want like a bunch of them. Currently, the points just running down the curve. If we use float range and go to count and then start stop 0 1 range, plug into that guy. Now we can control how many points to generate along the curve. This is much better for the MetaBalls. If you ever want to parent MetaBalls, don't do it directly to the result of grease pencil. You need to resample it. Now we are doing it. It's much lighter, and we are currently we only have points, but that's all we need to do the duplications. So we use BMS MK2 now, plug the vertices there and hide everything else. You can see the points really tiny, but you can see it. Let's parent the MetaBalls into the points. Let's hide the stroke. We don't really need it. You can see the points there. Select the MetaBall, select the points, Control P, set parents to objects. Now Blender, this is of course Blender on features. This enable you to do the duplications when you have an object parented. It's underneath this object tab, and here duplication. Duplication by using frame, vertices, faces, group. You can turn on vertices. Now you have MetaBalls being duplicated. Do we have control over the scaling? Maybe we don't. Unfortunately, we don't have control over the scaling unless you're using faces, which is a pity. Yeah, but faces maybe we can try some other rotations we can control, but maybe it's depending on the points normal. I don't know. Don't care about it for now. For now, just have a look at this. The effects from Sverchok is actually still live here with the viewer BMS MK2. It's live. You can change the number of the sample and it will update. So the unfortunate thing, of course, with the MetaBalls, even though we can control the scaling, it's like it's like global. Okay, it's for everyone. You cannot randomize the scale of MetaBalls, but you might have multiple MetaBalls. I don't know. I have not tried that. In reality, you really ideally you want to control the size, the scale of each MetaBalls being instance in this case. Later on, we will use particles for instancing the MetaBalls, but that's for later. For now, oops. We're gonna just use this. You can still, you can animate this. You see what's happening here? This is the MetaBall, right? It's being instanced on these points. This is the points that's sampling our grease pencil. Oh, sometimes with a duplication, I don't like this, but I don't think that will show up in the final render. I don't know. But anyhow, you can do this kind of effects. So it's the points traveling. You might want to animate like that, even though it's not perfect, but still reasonable. And of course, in Sverchok you can do more. Like the easiest one, of course, randomize input vertices. That's one of my favorites. It's because it's the simplest. You can do neat thing. See, our grease pencil curve is now inside Sverchok. You can do other stuff. This one will randomize the points, but you can use the vector noise to do that. Maybe I should do that. Okay, vector and noise. This noise is currently looking. It's not an easy node to make to use, because you don't just plug this guy in there and then you expecting a result. No, that's not how you do it. It's a vector noise that kind of generating noise. It's gonna output a bunch of noise. That what you need to do is you need to use vector math. You're kind of adding the original points and then maybe the result from this add together, and then you should get a result. But then hey, you cannot animate it. Okay, to animate it you need to another vector math, and then you need another vector in, and maybe this guy, and then you can animate it. So this is a noise. Noise is always nicer to look at. It's nicer to look at. It's because with unlike random, noise is always smoother. It has this kind of effects of points kind of wiggling around in their positions. We can still control the MetaBalls. I told you before that MetaBalls you can control the resolutions. Increase it and increase it to 1, and you have this result. It's very light. I like it. Sometimes it's good to have this kind of light effects, and because why? If it's light, you can use like a modifier here, remesh modifier, and use blocks, turn off, remove disconnected pieces, increase the opt3 depth, and I think we're not generating anything. What's going on? MetaBalls. Maybe I did something bad just now. Where's the MetaBalls? This guy, MetaBalls block. Yeah, it's not a good thing. Seems to. So we have the alpha, and then we have the MetaBalls. Suddenly, the MetaBalls dead. I think this is Blender thing, Blender limitations, but we're gonna get around it using Sverchok once again. Okay, we have live effects. Here, this is Sverchok node 3, and then the output of this guy, what is this guy? It's from MetaBalls. Okay, this one, grease pencil 2 points. It's a good idea to name node 3 actually. Let's make a new node 3 and then red source this guy, objects in, get selection, viewer image. We're gonna output this guy. Be careful with the name, it's beta, okay, it should be good. Now we have a new surface. With the new surface, it's no longer MetaBalls with the limitation, Blender limitations. We have this guy that we can control more. So this is actually still alive. With this guy we can apply modifier, no problem at all. You see? You don't get that without Sverchok. This can go pretty funky really quick. This guy, I like to keep it light for now. Cool. So grease pencil. Let me draw something. Grease pencil, Sverchok, resampling, and then MetaBall, and then MetaBall mesh goes back to Sverchok. Grease pencil itself we can replace with something else. Okay, we don't need to use grease pencil. Let's go back to this guy and let's just use like a random vector, for example, from Sverchok. 50 of them, plug into the vertices. What do we get? We get this guy. This is really cool because it's the point from Sverchok, of course, and you can randomize the seed and do whatnot, but it's working with Blender MetaBalls, and we can control the MetaBalls resolution. The scale of MetaBalls can be controlled using Sverchok. Oh yeah, or animation nodes if you like. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Now let's bring that into the other Sverchok node 3. It's kind of processing MetaBall. Get selections, and now we have this thing. How interesting, right? So with this guy, let's go back to other Sverchok. We have a random. Okay, let's plug in the randoms to our noise thingy. So this is the noise thingy. Plug this guy into that guy, and this guy. The result should go into vertices. Now the metaball should be dancing, and this should generally okay, remove disconnected pieces to be off. There you go. That's like a dancing MetaBalls offer, and the result is a remesh modifier, kind of like a Lego brick kind of design, and we still can control these creations of points. This is not very good. I need to tidy up a little bit. So let's do backward. This is the original points. We have add, and then we have vector in and time, vector noise. Okay, now it's much tidier. Now we can control the number of points for grease pencil. We can randomize the seed. We can scale it up, scale it down. It's better looking when scaled down, and then update. Maybe scale a little bit more. Even this is quite strange and pretty cool that we can do this. If you give this to someone, maybe you just want to render this out, put it in layer 3. Okay, you have this, and show them this. Or sometimes it doesn't update when it's not on the same layer. Yeah. It looks good when it's a low res sometimes. Turn on ambient occlusion. This guy might be too high resolutions. Turn it even smaller. Easier for Blender to process. The result is not much different from before. In fact, with this MetaBall, you can go super high and super low res. And sometimes super low res looks quite interesting. So you can't really apply modifier to MetaBalls, but you can apply modifier into MetaBalls that has been processed using Sverchok into this new mesh. So that's the whole idea. This is so a little bit more intermediate than previous live noding, but if you didn't see the previous live noding, you might have to see that to understand what's going on here. Yeah, that's pretty much for this live noding. If you have any question, feedback, you can leave it down below. Any comments, I will reply, and then I'll see you in the next live noding. Thank you.